A dazzling show of light was created across the surface of the lake as the sun's rays passed through it. Oliver Anderson had no idea that this seemingly ordinary September day would completely change his life. Even though he had more than 10 years of diving experience, countless dives, and an extensive collection of underwater photos, the visibility that day was exceptional at about 30 meters, and the water, though cool at only 12 degrees Celsius, was remarkably clear. Oliver swam leisurely among the kelp forests, pointing his camera at bright sea stars scattered across the rocky bottom. His attention was drawn to a small group of sea cucumbers, so he chose to take some close-up shots. At that moment, he felt an almost imperceptible change in the movement of the water. There was a big object nearby. Oliver gently turned in the hopes of seeing an interesting seal or maybe a little orca, which are frequent visitors to these waters. But what he saw left him a young humpback whale, no larger than 4 meters, was swimming a few meters away, and the calf was moving in jerky motions, unlike these majestic creatures' usual behavior. It was constantly looking at the diver, as if to see if he was watching, and its small eyes, which were surprisingly expressive for a creature of such immense size, seemed to convey both worry and a silent request for assistance. The calf was frozen in awe. Oliver held his breath as he turned on his camera. The chance to see such a close-up encounter with a wild whale calf was nothing short of remarkable, but the animal seemed completely uninterested in being filmed. After the 5th or 6th maneuver, the calf abruptly changed direction and swam away, describing a wide arc before returning. This pattern was repeated multiple times, and it became increasingly evident that the whale was trying to communicate something to the diver. After traveling about 20 meters, the calf stopped and turned as if to see if the diver was following Oliver. Oliver was hesitant to follow a wild animal into open waters, but something about the cap's urgency, almost desperate, made him act. Checking his gauge and compass, Oliver started swimming northeast, following his peculiar guide. As they got farther out from the coast, the depth increased and the sunlight dimmed. Every 30 to 40 meters, the calf would halt, allowing Oliver to catch up and make sure he was still following. They arrived in a little underwater valley here at a shallow depth after traveling more than 500 meters. Something Oliver saw chilled him to the bone. An enormous adult humpback whale that was at least 14 meters long hung motionless. Its body was covered in what appeared to be an odd grey sludge from a distance in the water. As he got closer, he saw that it was barnacles. But these weren't the usual little clusters of crustaceans that are frequently seen on whales. Instead, they were a dense solid layer that was several centimeters thick in some places and covered nearly the entire body, leaving only small areas around the eyes and blowhole. The calf swam to the large whale, which was likely its mother, and started gently nudging her as if to get her to move. But the whale only flicked its tail fin feebly even through the water. Oliver could see how labored and uneven her breathing was, so he wasted no time as the diver approached cautiously, his hands shaking as he took a titanium knife from his belt. He knew that barnacles could be an indication of serious health issues in whales. Normally, the strong immune systems of these animals prevent parasites from multiplying to such an extent. Something had severely compromised the health of this majestic creature. Carefully approaching the whale's body, Oliver began removing the largest clusters of barnacles. The work was painstaking and difficult. He had to be gentle enough not to injure the whale's skin, but still apply significant effort to dislodge the firmly attached parasites. The calf remained nearby, swimming in continuous circles and occasionally releasing low, resonant sounds that reverberated through the water. The mother whale lay almost motionless, her massive eye blinking slowly whenever Oliver entered her line of sight. After half an hour of painstaking work, the diver had managed to clear an area about the size of a dining table, but it was just a drop in the ocean. The barnacles covered almost the entire massive body of the whale. It became clear that he couldn't handle this alone. Moreover, his air gauge showed that his tank was running low. Oliver surfaced rapidly in an attempt to commit his precise location to memory. As soon as he was back on the boat, he grabbed his radio and called the Marine Mammal Rescue Service. He spoke in a trembling voice as he explained the situation to the dispatcher. "This is Oliver Anderson, a certified diver. I'm about a mile northeast of the entrance to House Sound. I found an adult humpback whale in critical condition. Its body is nearly immobile and completely covered in barnacles. Fortunately, there was a cat nearby. An experienced specialist was on the other end of the line, and they asked some clarifying questions about the whale's condition, including its approximate size and depth, before telling Oliver that a rescue team would arrive on the scene in an hour, which seemed like an eternity. To make sure the whales were still present, Oliver occasionally dove while wearing a mask. The calf appeared to sense that help was imminent. It ceased its restless movements and stayed close to its mother, gently brushing against her with its fin from time to time. Precisely 53 minutes later, a specialized marine mammal rescue vessel emerged on the horizon. On board was a team of 6'2" veterinarians specializing in marine mammals, 3 rescue operations specialists, and a cetacean behavior expert. After assessing this situation, the team immediately began working. 2 divers descended with special equipment to remove barnacles. Their tools were far more effective than Oliver's knife. They used hydraulic scrapers designed to remove parasites without harming the whale's skin. The work progressed slowly but steadily. Every hour, the divers rotated to conserve air. Oliver, having received permission from the operation leader, joined the team to assist where he could. The calf stayed close throughout, observing the rescue efforts with focused attention. Once the majority of the barnacles had been removed, the veterinarians proceeded with a more detailed examination. What they discovered deeply concerned them. Before we move on with the story, I apologize for the interruption. It would be greatly appreciated if you could like the video and subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Following a quick consultation, the team decided to take the whale to the closest marine mammal rehabilitation center for emergency surgery after noticing a small swelling on the whale's side that was unusual for this species. An underwater ultrasound scan using portable equipment also showed the presence of a foreign object in the whale's stomach. Using a special inflatable pontoon and a tugboat, the whale was carefully brought to shore. The calf followed the vessel the entire way, never straying more than a meter. At the rehabilitation center, the veterinary team started the operation right away. What they removed from the whale's stomach shocked everyone. A large piece of industrial fishing net saturated with toxic chemicals. The animal was in a weak state, and any stress could be fatal, but there was no other option without immediate surgical intervention. According to a laboratory investigation, the net had been coated with a very dangerous anti-fouling substance that included tributylon, one of the most poisonous substances found in the marine environment. As the whale consumed this piece of net, the chemicals started to dissolve in its stomach acid. The toxins entered its bloodstream, and the toxins collected in its fatty tissues, gradually poisoning its entire system. Time Bomb said to Oliver, the lead veterinarian, while displaying the lab data. The sensors demonstrated how severely the chemicals had harmed the whale's interior organs. The liver's tissues were clearly inflamed, and it had swelled to almost twice its normal size. The immune system had almost shut down, allowing the large barnacle infestation to continue for at most 3 or 4 days, and the damage would have been irreparable. The kidneys were straining to filter out the dangerous compounds. Dr. Chen looked at the blood analysis and shook his head. She was unable to move normally because the poison concentration had already reached a critical level. If not for the calf's extraordinary intelligence and your prompt assistance, we would have lost them both. The toxin partially immobilized her muscular system. Oliver looked at the net fragment under a microscope in a lab setting, and it was evident that there were poisonous material crystals embedded in the synthetic strands. These anti-fouling coatings were banned in the early 2000s because of their extreme toxicity, explained one of the lab technicians, but some unscrupulous manufacturers still use them, especially in countries with less strict environmental regulations. Over the following 3 weeks, the whale and her calf stayed in a dedicated rehabilitation pool. Oliver came by nearly every day, assisting with their care and capturing their progress on camera. Slowly but surely, the adult whale's health began to recover. Her wounds healed, blood tests showed a reduction in toxin levels, and her appetite returned. The calf stayed close to his mother the entire time. The center staff marveled at his loyalty and intelligence. If it weren't for his persistence in seeking help, we would never have Known his mother was in trouble, they said in mid-October, when all the indicators had normalized, the decision was made to release the whales back into the ocean. The day was remarkably clear and warm. Dozens of people gathered on the shore to witness the touching event. When the gates of the rehabilitation pool opened, Oliver was still filming on one of the escort boats. The whales didn't immediately go out. Instead, they swam close to the entrance for a few minutes, seemingly adjusting to the idea of freedom, and then seemingly making a decision. The mother and calf, the two whales, dove together and swam toward the open ocean before abruptly stopping and turning around after swimming a certain distance. This seemed to be a farewell wave and a way of thanking everyone who was watching. The whales then gradually headed north, starting their lengthy migration to the wintering grounds near the Hawaiian coast. In the months that followed, the story of the whales' rescue was published in numerous scientific publications and environmental journals, with particular attention paid to the calf's unusual behavior in seeking human assistance citations. Behavior specialists pointed out that these instances are incredibly uncommon and show how intelligent these animals are. Thanks to unique tracking tags that were affixed before to the whale's release, Oliver was able to keep tabs on the whereabouts of the creatures he had rescued. The following summer, Oliver, who now frequently dove in the same area in the hopes of running into his old friends, saw familiar spouts on the water's surface approaching by boat and recognized them. The signals indicated that the two had successfully arrived in the warm Hawaiian waters, joining a large group of humpback whales. The calf and mother went back to their summer grazing areas. For nearly an hour, the whales lingered near Oliver's boat, allowing him to take pictures and occasionally surface as if posing for the camera. The mother's body showed almost no signs of her ordeal, save for a small scar on her side that served as a reminder of the surgery. The calf, which had grown significantly after a year of growth, even ventured close to the boat, gently brushing against it with his fin. Thanks to the kindness of one individual and the expertise of a rescue team, this story became not just an illustration of a successful marine animal rescue, but also a reminder of how intertwined human and ocean creatures' lives are. Oliver's career took a drastic turn when he left his previous job to dedicate himself fully to the protection of marine mammals, joining the same rescue center that helped save the whales. He now frequently takes part in rescue operations to aid other marine creatures in distress, and the images and videos he took during the whale rescue are used in an educational program on marine conservation that helps raise awareness about ocean pollution and the devastating impact human waste can have on marine life. Every year, when humpback whales return to the waters of British Columbia, despite knowing that his chances of seeing his whales again are slim, Oliver sets out to sea with a unique sense of anticipation, because this amazing experience has shown him that miracles are possible, particularly when it comes to magnificent animals like humpback whales. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to this channel and leave a like. Two amazing creatures were given a second chance at life because of the kindness of one man. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. If you saw a whale in distress, would you try to help it? Let us know in the comments below.